Hey guys, and welcome back to Mojo Homestead. Today was one of those days that does not make homesteading fun. I don't want to say that it doesn't make it worth it, but it doesn't make it fun. We had one of our baby goats pass away. We suspect that it was probably something with parasites or something like that. As you saw in one of our other videos, we do take precaution. We do give them medicine that does kill that off. And we had just given it to them 2 weeks ago and moved their pen, which gives them clean ground where there shouldn't have been any parasites on the ground. And so it really came as a surprise to us when the goat started acting not normal yesterday. And we gave them, immediately started giving medication and doing what we could. Just did not pull through. So like I said, it's just one of those sad, unfortunate things that comes with homesteading. When we started this channel, even when we started our Facebook page about a year or so ago, we made up our minds that we were not going to share just a glorified, false image of what this lifestyle is like, but that we would share our successes, our failures, and even those hard things that do happen. It's sad. It's something that we hate to see. We never like to see it. But when homesteading, you really just have to, deal with it and move on. And I would have said 2 years ago, wow, that's really harsh. And I'm sure that I'll get a little bit of, judgments or whatever from that comment. But as any farmer or homesteader that has livestock will tell you, we're not afforded the luxury of sitting down and just grieving like you normally would with a pet or something when you lose it. It's not fun. It's hard. It's sad. I hate it. Really kind of ruined my day today. But I can't sit here and mourn over this goat and leave all the others out there to fend for themselves. Immediately when one gets sick, you start checking the other ones. And when one passes away, then you definitely start checking the other ones. If you're needing to beef up medication, then you start doing that. You've got to start thinking ahead. And, that's probably one thing that I would say that I was not fully prepared for when we started with livestock, but one thing that I quickly realized, the realization of, there is a realization that life is precious and life is delicate. It's fragile. I knew that heading into homesteading, but homesteading has opened my eyes up to that. One thing that I continually stress to our kids is that life is something that we do not take for granted. Life is something that we treasure here. It's the cycle of nature, and we as human beings have the ability to feel emotions, and so we feel that grief when nature intervenes into our lives. We feel that pain, that hurt, that sorrow, but at the end of the day, it's nature, and it's what nature does. Good or bad, it's the reality of life. And I don't mean just life in general, but like life. Plants are born, they live, they die. Animals are born, they live, they die. Humans, they're born, they live, they die. You get the point. But when death comes earlier than we think, or comes at the hands of a disease, a sickness, whatever it may be, we tend to immediately think that's not fair. But I'm reminded, and one thing that homesteading in situations like this has taught me and given me a deeper understanding is that it's not fair, but it happens. And while we would like to think that we as humans can stop these things to make them, cease to exist, these things that come in and rob life early, we can't. Life is one of the very few things, if not the only thing, that we are not promised. We are never promised the next day. We're never even promised the next breath. And that goes for everything on planet Earth. Life is fragile and life is precious. And when life ends, there's grief that takes place. But the reality of life is that it will end. And while on our time and our watch, it may seem like it ends early, on nature's watch, it never ends early. It ends right on time. And so, in the homesteading lifestyle, you're forced to accept that, and you're forced to move on, and you're forced to look for ways to prevent it from happening in the future. But at the same time, accepting that death sometimes comes at inopportune times. And yes, we are to mourn it. Yes, we are to grieve that reality. But I believe that we're also called to keep our eyes open and notice that there's so much more life around us. We're surrounded by life. Death is an instance. Emotionally, it lasts longer than that. But life is so much more. Life is not an instant. Life is an event. And I think when we get a healthy understanding of death, we appreciate life so much more. So guys, thank you for joining me. Sorry that this one was not quite as fun, that it is one sad reality of homesteading, but I wanted to share it with you. And I appreciate you guys coming along for the journey, and the good, the bad, the happy, the sad, all of it. So until next time, have a great week and be blessed.